Daylon Swearingen, welcome to the Wrestling Changed My Life podcast, my friend.
Hey, sir. Thanks for having me on today.
Yes, sir. We're talking to the champ, the double champ this year, the PBR and the points champ. Now, this is a wrestling podcast, and I have no experience in bull riding. I did watch the movie 8 Seconds, and I was obsessed with it as a kid. But, man, it's been fun learning a little bit about your world. First of all, congrats, man. Has it settled in?
Yeah, we starting to have to slow down, because there's just a lot of changes going on in the bull riding world with the team event and everything, and we kind of slowed down, and now I'm just hanging out at the house.
And so when you're going through your pro season, you have like a points total that's going on, and then also the world finals. Which is a bigger thing to win, the individual finals or like the points for that the whole season?
The points for the whole season, that pays $1 million.
Woo!
So when the guy that wins the world, that's the million dollar deal, and then the finals pays $100,000 to win it. They're both really big to win. So yeah.
And this was the first time since like the early 2000s that someone won both, and while going to the 8th round of the finals. Is that right? Like it came down to the wire.
Yeah, it came down in a while. Like this is probably the closest race that the PBR has seen in quite some time.
And you're a young man. The guy who you were going against, the Brazilian, how old is he?
So the guy that like we were 1 and 2 all year, he was 37. But the guy that ended up on that last day, he's another Brazilian. And I can't, he's probably 28, 30 or so.
And so outside of USA and Brazil, are there other countries that are big into bull riding?
Yeah, Australia. Australia is probably the next biggest one. Canada, Mexico, very little bit, but they do have some guys.
Are there any big events down in Brazil?
Yeah, so actually the biggest bull riding in the world, I think, is in Brazil.
Wow. Have you ever been down there?
I've never been down there, no.
What?
They say.
Dude, that would be sick to go down there. Kind of like, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is massive down there. I don't know like what's bigger, like bull riding in America or Brazil, but dude, I couldn't believe how many people go to these PBR events and just how much media is around it.
Yeah, I think it's a really growing sport, and it's one sport that you can't blow a whistle and you can't stop it, and so it's got to play out. And you can see the wrecks, and you can see the good rides, and you can see everything in between. It's always something, like it's never scripted.
Yeah, I mean, even if you want to get off, a lot of times you can't, right? Because your hand is like so tightly like wrapped in there.
It's not that it's tightly in there, but like we use this kind of like it's like a rosin, kind of like something, I don't know, something that makes it sticky. So like your hand is pretty much kind of glued in there for a short period of time.
Dude, it's scary to see like when you're trying to get off one and like your arms just wrapped up and the thing's going crazy. I mean, I was getting anxiety just watching it. And I was watching a video of one of your mentors, like back in the 90s. He had a situation where he got just absolutely trampled on, bro.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. Which the ropes have kind of changed a little bit throughout the years. So I ride in a Brazilian style rope. So you don't see as many like where it holds onto you and you're on there for a long time. But you'll still see it for occasionally like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, but then it pretty much normally comes out.
Got it. Well, we're going to go into the title and your career, but let's just go back to the origin story, because I thought it was so cool that you grew up with parents who were like rodeo promoters, basically.
Yeah. So my family owned a rodeo company in upstate New York. And so we were, being upstate New York, there's not a lot of like big venues that we can go to in the wintertime. So that's where we would wrestle in the wintertime. My dad was a big wrestler. We'd wrestle in the wintertime, and then we'd go rodeo in the summertime and stuff. And so we didn't do a lot of summer wrestling, but
So what are your summers like? Are you spending all summer on the road every weekend and like going back home during the week to New York, or are you just gone all summer long as a kid?
No, like most of our rodeos that my family produced, they were in like New York, Pennsylvania, kind of that Northeast region right there, Maine, New Jersey, and New Hampshire and stuff like that. We kind of stay in that little region and produce like fair rodeos, all kinds of rodeos we produce. Um, and it was really cool seeing both aspects, like it gave me a lot bigger respect for rodeo, because you see how it's produced and there's a lot more that goes into it than people think.
Oh, I'm sure. And are you competing at all these or just kind of hanging out behind the scenes, running around?
Yeah, no, I'm competing because and like bareback riding and saddle bronc riding, so those are the two horse events. There's not a lot of those in the Northeast, and so I had to do that to kind of fill the show for my family. But so we were competing just as well as help produce it.
I'm reading this book, Outliers, right now, and it's like one of the chapters is the greats in any field have 10,000 hours of practice. And I got to think, man, all the summers of going to that, by the time you're 22, you probably had your 10,000 hours of going to rodeos and watching film and all that. I mean, it's not many people had that opportunity, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I was always around good people. So now that the team bull riding, I'm on Jerome Davis's team, so it's pretty cool. He's in North Carolina. I'm on the Carolina Cowboys, and that's somebody that I always looked up to. And so I've always had a really good people that supported me, and so yeah.
Wow. So what is the team aspect of it? Is it the same season or is it a different season than individual?
Yeah, so they're split. This is the first year that our PBR finals has been in May. Normally it's in November. We had just only a couple events shorter than in the regular season. So we'll start back up at the end of July and we'll go to in the beginning of November, and that'll be the team finals. There's 8 teams, 5-man teams. So it'll be a 5-man team against a 5-man team. And the highest scores win.
Just going for it.
Just going for it.
Wow. So is there like a Brazilian team?
No, they're all the teams are from the United States. The Carolina Cowboys team I'm on. There's the Nashville Stampede. They're all owned by big people that own other NASCAR teams, or like Richard Childers owns the team, the Carolina Cowboys. It's pretty cool. Austin Dillon, he's a NASCAR guy. He's got a Greek card. He's our general manager. So it's pretty cool to be on that team, because our general manager is also competing every weekend that we're competing. And, like he's got to have the same mentality that we got. So I feel like it's all going to feed because we're just going to keep, we're all going to have that energy,
Yeah. And I've heard you say that a lot of your mentality comes from wrestling. And I knew a couple wrestlers in Iowa who did rodeo because Iowa high schools have rodeo as part of it, like the state organization, which is crazy to me. But do you see a lot of other wrestlers out there or not many?
Yeah. So there's a 2-time world champ, Jess Lockwood. He was a wrestler, state champ. I think he was state champ at 99 from Montana. There's quite a few wrestlers. Connor Alvestron, he was a really good wrestler from Nebraska. But the college that I went to down here in Carthage, Texas, one of the guys that's on that team right now, Gage McBride, he just won a state title 2 years ago in Nebraska. So.
And who was the guy who was the 2-time champ? Jess Lockwood?
Yeah, Jess Lockwood.
I got to get him on, man. That's awesome. That's a whole new world. I mean, I always knew wrestlers produce great UFC champions, but as I started to think about it, I'm like, there's a lot of similarities. It's an individual sport. I got to imagine balance is everything in your world.
Oh yeah, balance and everything. So a lot of like my workouts that I do are all wrestling based. Like you know, like when we're in season and stuff, like we're not going and lifting a bunch of weights, you know, we got like it's all the same. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the mentality is the same for sure.
Now, I'm going to ask some really basic questions only because I know nothing about your world. But let's say, during your season, it looks like you guys are going basically every weekend during the PBR season. Is that right?
Yeah, about every weekend. Yes, sir.
So what's like a week in the life for you? Are you gone like Thursday through Sunday, or like when do you leave for the event, and what's it like when you get there?
So normally on a normal from January to May of this year, I was, I'd leave the house probably Friday morning. I'd fly out Friday morning and I'd fly back Sunday or Monday. Like I fly into the event the day that I compete. I like to do stuff around. I'm an outdoors guy. I like to be outside. And throughout the week, just kind of, doing some core workout, balance, getting on the bike. I got wrestling mats here.
Do you?
Brand new. I can't. Me and my cousin, we wrestled on them a little bit, but
So you're actually still wrestling a little bit.
yeah, a little bit. So I had shoulder surgery 2 years ago, and earlier this year we were wrestling around, and I was wrestling my buddy, and he's from Arizona, and he's a real skinny guy, and I was like, I never knew he was really good wrestler. So we were like wrestling, and I thought I could get away with just doing something. I can't remember what it was at the time, but anyways, he threw the boots in, and he wrenched on my shoulder. So I had to go, like when I went to the bull riding that week, I had to like get him to work on it, and they're like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be wrestling, or keep it controlled.
Right. Yeah, especially during your in season. So like you get back on Monday. I'm guessing you're like recovering on Monday, but like you wake up on Tuesday. What kind of is it like a structured workout you and your coach are doing every day, or is it kind of on your own as to what you want to do?
Yeah. So normally, I mean, I'm my own coach from January to May. From now, I do have a coach now, but we're pretty much still doing our own thing. And I kind of like wake up in the morning. I kind of stretch, and then I got animals here, so I go out and feed them, and then normally come back and get like a little workout in. It all depends, how I'm feeling from the previous week. And like if I had a really good week and I'm feeling healthy, then I'll get some good workouts in.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm pretty sore, if I got stepped on and like I'm black and blue in some spots, like I'm probably just gonna just keep my body moving, working, and maybe not work out quite as hard. It just, nothing's really script,
Mm-hmm.
so it just depends on how you feel.
And bro, when you say you get stepped on, you're laying there on the ground and this massive bull is going like crazy. When a hoof comes down on you, how does that not just kill you on impact? Like crack your ribs, go right into your lungs, and just it's over. Like how does that not happen every time?
I guess God's watching over us, but I mean, there's really good, like the helmets, everything is designed for bull riding. Like this isn't a Kevlar vest. Like we're not wearing what the police officers are wearing. It's designed to take an impact and spread it out a little bit.
So there's still like steel plates in there on those vests?
They're not steel. They're like, I don't know. They're kind of like a foam, but they're really like little, so you can still move and everything. But I mean, the feet are the most dangerous part. The horns, if you get hooked or that bull throws you up in the air, like that's all right, but the impact of him coming up from, sometimes 10 foot, 12 foot coming down, like that's a lot of force coming down on you.
Well, that's like, I didn't mean to be morbid there, but I'm like, dude, how much when you're laying on the ground and there's nowhere for you to go and that thing's coming down, I got to imagine that's a tremendous blow. I mean, are you just completely out of it if that happens? And has that happened to you?
Yeah, I've definitely, like previously earlier this year in Oklahoma City, I got stepped on in the head and it knocked me out and I was laying there. But there's 3 guys out in the.
Hold on, I'm processing. You got stepped on in the head. Dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Cracked my helmet, and I'm just laying there. I was out. I don't know how long I was out, but I was out for a good little bit. But there's 3 guys that are out there, like, they're called the bullfighters, but they're out there to distract the bull so we can get away safely. And they're really good. They're the best at the job, and so, like, if we do get stepped on, they're going to distract that bull away so we can get up. We're going to be walking a little slower so they can still help us get up. Sorry.
So the biggest risk is getting stepped on versus getting hooked. Like, does that happen often when someone gets like jabbed from a hook, or not that often?
Like, you're never going to get like gored or anything from a bull, like there's regulations, like the bull horn has to be a 50-cent piece. And
Okay. A little bit of safety in there then.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane, man. So throughout the week, you're kind of like a Olympic level wrestler. You're just kind of training on your own, and you're doing your own thing. You get there on Friday, and then are you competing Saturday, Sunday? Like, how does a normal weekend work?
So yeah, they're normally 2-day event, Friday and Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday, Sunday. It just depends on where we're at, what venue, what all is going on. But normally they're a 3-day event deal. So since the PBR finals, I haven't been on any bulls. And I'll start back in Bismarck, North Dakota on Friday. I'll ride there Friday, Saturday. I'll take Monday, Tuesday off, and I'll ride in somewhere in Saskatchewan on Wednesday, and then I'll go back to North Dakota, and then I'll come back to the house.
Wow. But that's not like a PBR event. That's just something different.
Yeah, no, these are all PBR events.
Oh, they are. Okay.
So the one in Bismarck is going to be the first like team scrimmage kind of deal. And then the one in Canada is just like the Canadian Cup event, a Canadian Monster Energy event.
And when you're at one of these, how many times are you riding the bull in a given weekend? Like 5 times or like 2 times?
So if it's a 2-day event, you're going to ride a long round bull and a short round bull. And those 2 bulls are drawn to you. Random computer drawn. And then, so if you're in the championship round, that's called the short round. You get to pick those bulls on the position that you're coming in. So the top 12 guys will get to pick their bull. If you're coming in number 1, you pick the number 1 bull. If you're the 12th guy, you get left with whatever they leave you. Probably a scary one.
And is there a big difference in the quality of the bulls?
So like your top bullets get picked, you're going to feel really good about it. That's going to be, those are going to be really bucky bulls. Like, you can't mess your toe up, but you do your job, you get a high score. The bulls kind of towards the end are going to be bulls like somebody, I don't really know how to describe it. That's going to be a bull that he might not look as bucky as like the number 1 pick, but he's going to have some tricks to him that make him not fun for for you to get on him.
But the number 1 pick would be the easiest to ride or the hardest to ride, would you say?
I guess it just depends on the day, but you always want to come back with the number 1 pick. Then if you got the number 1 pick, you get to pick the first bull out of 12. So your mind thinking, all right, that's the one I want. You have a really good mindset going into it. You get the 12th bull. There's 12 guys that pass that bull up for whatever reason, but now you have to go make the best out of it. So it's just, I guess it's all about how you look at it.
Damn. So technically the lowest ranked guy has the hardest ride, because if no one else wants that bull, it's for a reason.
Yeah, but sometimes those bulls you're only going to be 89, 88 points on. It just depends. Like, those bulls just have a trick or something to them. It just there's a lot of variables.
Yeah. And it's interesting to read, just from reading a couple of press releases after you won the title, that the bulls are treated like athletes, kind of like their own special thing. Is that right?
Yeah, these bulls are treated like, I think Whoop All. I don't know if you watch any videos of Whoop All, but So they have mats that these bulls stand on, and it's not called a wrestling mat. It's called like an equine. You know, they got a special name for it, but it's a wrestling mat. It's like one of the newer wrestling mats that fold up really good. And that bull, he's in the back pins. You know, when he's at the house, he's standing on wrestling mats. Like, he's always in love. You know, like a lot of these bulls are nice. Like, I got a bull here, and he's been to the PBR finals twice. And I can go sit on him, and he's super nice bull.
So are there people who take pride in raising the bulls as much as like because I would think being a bull rider is really badass, but like, are there people who also take it seriously for like training these bulls, or they just happen naturally?
Oh yeah, these bulls are definitely bred to be bucking bulls. You know, like, there's a lot of money in these bulls. So like, just like race horses, you know, you have the futurity horses, like they have futurities for these bulls, and at one event they can win $100,000. Like, there's a lot of money in the bull business.
Wow.
Like the world champion bull, he wins 250,000. That bull, I think.
Dang. So there's both sides of the coin. And so, like, if you're a bull fan, you're at one of these events, you might get excited about a potential matchup, just like wrestlers would about a potential matchup.
Oh yeah, like, you know, those bulls are getting excited in there just as much as we are. You know, they know. You know, yeah, they know their job too.
Now, is the bareback horse riding as popular as the bull riding?
Yeah, it's just as popular. It's just bull riding has excelled and made their own sport. You know, they've made the professional bull riders. They've made their own association. It's televised every weekend. Where bareback riding is still, it's still, you know, it still has to go with the whole rodeo. You know, you don't very rarely do you see just bareback riding.
And there is much money in that, or not even close?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of money in professional rodeo as well too.
Oh, really?
Making the NFR, you know, it's just a lot more traveling. Like, so I made the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, which that's the NFR. That's like the Super Bowl of rodeo, and that's in Las Vegas. But you're going somewhere about every day, new place.
What?
Yeah, I lived in a truck camper, and we were just rodeoing.
Dang. So there's I didn't realize that there's a whole series of the rodeo like that you would see at a fair, but that's big time too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's you know, like, at those rodeos, there's a lot of money up for grabs. Like, you go to some of those bull runs, they're pay 100,000. Like, them big pro rodeos, you know, they pay a lot of money out to a lot of individual events. Where the professional bull rider, the PBR, they just paying it to just one event. It's all bull riding.
I know these are rudimentary questions. I'm just dying to learn about it, man. I'm so fascinated by how big this is. I had no idea. Like, I was like,
yeah,
it's just impressive. It kind of reminds me of how like UFC is so big, but wrestling's still underground. Like, man, bull riding is massive.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure.
I was a little hurt to find out that some of the best are not Americans. I always thought that bull riding was an American thing. So it's good to see you brought the title back to the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, it's been in Brazil the past 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, so I want to dive in a little bit to like kind of your rise to being the world champ, because just through the articles I read, it looks like you were like 70th in the world, 19th in the world, and then you win it. Like, talk about the progression, like how you started to build your career and end up where you're at now in such a short time.
Yeah, so I think it all started, you know, when I was young. Like, I've done it my whole life. So I rode sheep, I rode calves, you know, steers, and just kept progressing. And then, you know, like, I did the high school rodeo, like how you were talking. Every state pretty much has a high school rodeo team. So I did that, and you know, and then I wrestled and stuff. And actually, when I won won the world, somebody texted me and said, well, I guess going, because I made it to states 1 year, and when I made it to states, I went to a rodeo in between it. We had a week off, and I went to a rodeo and broke my foot.
What?
Yeah, well, they did X-rays. They couldn't really they couldn't take X-rays because it was so swollen. So my wrestling coach is like, all right, well, just get in there. You know, like I had my weight was up, so I had to get in there and get on the bike. Like, so I'm in there getting on this bike and, you know, barely I can't put any weight on my leg, and trying to get a good sweat in still. And then come to find out it was broken. I was like, oh wow. I had a lot of weight to lose.
So you didn't still wrestle, did you?
No, I didn't wrestle. No.
It's like that'd be impossible. Now, do a lot of like up and coming stars just do homeschool high school and just travel all year?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So like I homeschooled, and you know, kind of went back and forth with it. But there's a lot of people that homeschool just because it's easier. You know, you're traveling all the time. And my teachers definitely didn't like me. Like we would leave almost about every Friday, so we wouldn't be in school Friday. Some Mondays we would get back for like lunch or something. You know, it just depend on where we're going.
Because I got to imagine, like before you get to the big time league, when you're on some of the like up and coming leagues, you're driving more than you're flying, and it's like every weekend you're driving somewhere. Is that right?
Oh yeah, you're driving everywhere. So like when I first went to college, right before I went to college, I just won the high school finals, like at the national high school finals in the bareback riding, and went to a bull ride. Like it was like 2 weeks later, tore my knee up, and I had a bull ride scholarship to go to school, and
to bull ride. Full ride to bull ride at the school.
Yeah, full ride to bull ride. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
So, and I tore my knee, so I couldn't compete the first half. Well, anyways, I drove down there. I had just owned a little Prius, little black Prius. So I went down there and was rodeoing, and I traveled in that Prius the first half of my career when I was coming back. And but just like we sleeping in cars, just trying to make ends meet. And
dude, I love the hustle and the grind of it. You're just out there sleeping in your car, just drive. I mean, I'm sure you're driving all over the country.
Yeah. So like, for a little while there, me and my buddy lived, like I was living in New York, but a lot of the rodeos in the wintertime, they shut down. So we would drive to Texas about every weekend, stay for probably 2 weeks, and then go back to New York and then do it over again.
You would drive from New York to Texas all that frequent?
Yeah, like about every 2 weeks, and then we go back for a week and then come back, and Georgia, Florida, and stuff like that in the wintertime.
Wow. That is what an experience, man. And then how did you get the call to join like the Top Rank League, the PBR League, the one that you just won?
So you have to qualify for those. So in 2019, my goal was to make the Wrangler National Finals. So I was just rodeoing really hard, not really going to many PBRs events. And then there was 1 week where there wasn't much rodeo, so I entered so there's 3 levels of the PBR. There's the Tour and Pro division, there's the Velocity, and then there's the Unleash the Beast Tour. And so I entered the Velocity Tour, and you have to win it to get an invite to go to the next one. And so I won that event and went to the next one, and I just kept doing good, and I haven't been on that tour since.
Got it. And so like, is there a technical part of it, or is it more of a natural thing to be good at? Like, can you get better at bull riding and like improve your skills?
Oh yeah, you can get better at anything, if you work at it. And that's like right now I ride bulls really good at to the left, and I'm still working on it to the right. I got a little improvement to do. So yeah, there's always improvement to do for sure.
And I got to imagine, like wrestling, a lot of it's mental. And I've heard you say that when you're like walking up to the shoot, you don't want anyone to notice you because the fight has already started for you. And I love that quote. I'm thinking about just getting that quote all over my house, man. Like, what? Talk us through like what that means to you.
Yeah, I think like, just like anything, your mindset going into a wrestling match, going into getting on a bull, you just enter this zone where, you do everything. You have the same routine. Like I know I always had the same routine when I was wrestling, and I always had the same routine when I ride bulls, and that just helps me get my level of mentality where it needs to be. So for bull riding, like I keep to myself, like I'll joke around and hang out with everybody for a little bit, but when I get closer to getting not like it's my time to ride, then I'll start kind of staying by myself, starting to get a little bit more serious, not serious, but just to myself and warming up. And then when I get in that chute, everything is pretty much quiet, and everything's just happening, routines.
And how do you warm up? What's your routine?
So I had a hip surgery, and so I really like it's a lot with hips, and so I just kind of do like an active warm up, kind of just get everything warm. I'm not quite sweating like I was when I was going on the mat, but it's part near pretty close.
And what's the self-talk like between the ears as you're getting ready?
I just try to keep it like I don't really try to think about bull riding. Like I think about bull riding all week. But I think when I'm at the events, I just have to get kind of not away from bull riding, but I just have to keep my mind busy moving, keep doing something so I'm not thinking about it, because you can definitely overthink anything, and I'm an overthinker. And so if I just stay busy, help my friends when they're getting on their bulls, and just keep moving, helping people, and just knowing that I can do it, and just go do it.
So is there like a brotherhood amongst the riders behind the scenes, or is everyone kind of their own man? It's real competitive.
No, I mean, we're really competitive, but we're all pushing for each other. Like you'll see everybody back there helping whoever,
Mm-hmm.
everybody helps everybody. And, that's really cool about this sport. At the end of the day, we're not competing against, Cooper Davis or whoever, we've got to compete against that bull. That's really our enemy at the end of the day. So I think it's a really good brotherhood. We all go out and eat after. I think this team deal is just going to make it even more of a bond. It's just like wrestling. Like it's the team bull riding is just like wrestling. You got a team,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all train together, you work together. Y'all are all going to be there when that guy's out on the mat. All them guys are going to be out there when I'm getting on a bull. They're all going to be helping me, but at the end of the day, it's on you, and it ain't on a team. You're relying on the team for the whole deal, but you got to go out and do your job to help the team.
Absolutely. Yeah, I could see the parallels, and I mean, you got to be focused on yourself because it's life and death. It's not life and death when you go out in a wrestling mat. It's life and death when you go in a UFC cage. It's definitely life and death in what you're doing. So like the stakes are so high, you got to be on your game.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want, that's why I kind of try to keep my mind pretty chill, on days that I'm getting on, because you don't want to be thinking about something at home, or anything you got going on. So I've kind of learned ways to, if something's bothering me, I'll write it down, and then I'll come back to it later. Like I put my problem aside and I'll come back to it later. But there's so many ways of handling stuff. But yeah.
I love that technique. How'd you learn that?
So I worked with a sports psychologist for a little while. When I came back from my shoulder injury, my hip, that time away from bull riding, like, you go from being gone every weekend to being home for 6 months, and it wears on you. And so just, she was Paige Lawrence is her name. She was an Olympic figure skater. And she helped me just kind of figure out ways to handle my mentality, and it's definitely helped me for sure.
How does it wear on you being out that long?
It's just kind of, like your entertainment, like, you go from being traveling, always seeing stuff to being home. At the time I was living in a camper, and so which I had land and stuff that I'd go out and do stuff, but you can't really do much when I was on crutches and it was winter. But it just kind of, you don't get to see all your friends all the time. We're all from different parts of the world, and that thrill of riding them bulls, like that thrill that it gives you, that adrenaline. You need something to kind of, I don't know, but
Yeah, no, I was just curious what you would say. It makes sense. I mean, it's got to be like the highest of highs when you come off a good ride, I would imagine.
oh yeah, for sure. Like, so like this year at the PBR finals, Saturday night, I think it started at 7:45, 8:45. Well, then the next morning, on Sunday, it normally starts like 1. It started at 8:45. We had bulls for breakfast, and that's not very common in bull riding, but it was at the time.
And I was just reading through this event you just the finals you ran. It's 8 rides, and like throughout the year, your average ride rate's about 43%. You get bucked off in the first round, and then you ride 6 straight. Where are you at mentally after you got bucked off that first round?
So I actually, I had a really good bull. Like the first round was all those bulls. So bulls that can make money in the PBR are 4 and 5-year-old, or 3 and 4-year-olds. Those are the bulls that are making, they're competing for money as well. All the other bulls are competing for a world title, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a young bull that I had, and I actually got on 2 bulls the first night. That first bull didn't give me the fair opportunity, so I got on a second bull, a bull that I've rode previous in the past, and he's a very good bull to get on and to draw there, especially in the first round. I kind of had a mess up, and it just kind of, I knew I had to step up, because those guys behind me, Joao, he's never had a world title, but Kaiki, I think he's a two-time world champ. Jose, he was right there. He's a 2-time world champ. Like, those guys know what it takes to get there. And I just knew I just had to make everything count. And so it was just kind of, all right, relieve the pressure and then go at the rest of the week.
And were there any routines that you learned from your sports psychologist that you used like that night or the next morning?
Yeah, I kind of, so like I don't eat much on days that I ride. I might have like a smoothie, or like some sort of bowl or something like that. But then pretty much I'm just staying hydrated, and I like to, be feeling really pretty light getting on these bulls. And but just kind of keeping, like, I'm pretty good at keeping everything the same. I get there, there's a lot of other stuff going on. You got to go sign autographs, you got to have some appearances and stuff. But just kind of like, I'd go take a nap. Some days I couldn't sleep very good. I was ready to go, but just kind of trying to take that nap to kind of chill you back down, and then get over there at the same time and just getting ready. And my routine doesn't, like, I stretch in the mornings and stuff like that, but I don't have like a workout that I do like days I get on. Like I get a good little stretch going, and I'd get worked on, because I was a little sore. But other than that, just the normal routine.
So are you the most sore on like your neck from getting whipped around, or like in your core? Like, what does it feel like the next day?
Yeah, so it just depends. Like, there's definitely like, so I haven't been on since May 22nd. It's almost a month. But so like I'm gonna probably be a little sore. Like, there's definitely a bull riding shape. Just like there's no other shape like wrestling shape.
Right.
Like, I wish I could get in wrestling shape and then go get on a bull just to see what it would feel like, but that I felt the lightest, the fittest I've ever been in my life when I was wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's no shape like bull riding shape because, you know, like your groins and everything, like you don't have that type of pressure in other, like you can't even simulate a lot of that stuff, what you're doing on those bulls, because you have to move your body in such weird positions to get to where you need to go.
So do you use things like battle ropes on the grip, or is it not as grip focused as you'd think?
No, it's grip focus. You know, I got some battle ropes, but a lot of it is balance. You know, you cannot outpower any of these bulls. It doesn't matter how strong you are. You're not going to be able to outpower one of these bulls that are at the elite level. Like these bulls have a diet. They're not like your average herd bull that's out there eating to get fat. Like these bulls they're jacked up and they're ready to go.
Man, that is so wild to think that these things are out there just to get you off of them, and you guys are mounting up and riding these things. What was the injury that took you out? What happened?
So it was my shoulder. So my hip was kind of bothering me earlier in the year. In 2020, is when I had some stuff kind of happen with me, but my hip was kind of bothering me. I had a torn labrum in my hip. It wasn't super bad. I was doing good. But my hip, so in 2020, I came into the PBR finals third, but right towards the end of the year, I got stepped on by a world famous bull, Bruiser. He stepped on me. Actually, he stepped on this shoulder, but I had this hand up. So when it did, it just tore everything, tore my rotator cuff, a labrum, and some other tendons in there. And that one was kind of like, this is what we balance with. So not having so I tried wearing a brace, and then I just couldn't get the pitch right, because I had to pitch it way more to get my weight over there. And it was a lot. Like I was like, all right, I can't do that because I'm gonna have to really learn how to use my weight with only going this high. So I didn't wear a brace through the PBR finals. It didn't really work out. I got a couple bulls rode, but I was pretty sore.
Is that when you got 17th that year?
No, that was the year I got 10th.
10th. Okay. So you go in third and you drop that far just by not performing well one weekend. That's how close it is.
There's so much points at the PBR World Finals. You know, that's where this year, you know, this is the only PBR finals that I made something count. Normally, you know, I've always kind of come in top 20, you know, one year I didn't, but I've never really had a good PBR finals. And there's a lot of points, a lot of money up for grabs. Each night, the guy that wins that round of the PBR finals wins like $35,000.
Wow. Dang, that's crazy. And I got to imagine that as a fan, watching 3 days of that is just absolute insanity. So much fun.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it was a lot of fun, especially this year, you know, kind of, it moved from Las Vegas to Fort Worth. And I felt like Fort Worth was kind of a good home for it.
So that arena is where the Olympic trials were last year, the Little Dickies Arena for wrestling.
Yeah.
So we were there last April at the Olympic team trials. That arena is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really awesome. That big screen, like how it just keeps going all the way around. That's really cool. Yeah, my cousin, he actually, he wrestled in high school. He went to states a couple times. He had a Division I scholarship to wrestle somewhere up there. I think somewhere in New York. Anyways, he didn't do that. You know, it wasn't his deal. But he's actually at the college finals this week, riding bulls. So
that's awesome. So how many layers of it can you make money and make a living? Just the top one, or can you be in the third tier and still making money to live off of?
You know, to make money to live off of, you know, you can make money. It just kind of depends on how you want to live and stuff.
Right.
But I mean, there's a lot of money to be made at all of them, but they all link up to the main one. So if you can stay on the Unleash the Beast. So if you're doing good at the lowest level, you're gonna get bumped up to this level. If you're doing good there, then you're gonna get bumped up. Like really, you're not really making a lot of money unless you're on the big level. You know, there's a lot of other ways, you know, to make money. Going to other associations, rodeoing, going to the PRCA rodeoing. There's a lot of ways to make money in the Western world.
We'll do two things. I got two questions left for you and one comment. If you ever go to this big rodeo in Brazil, I'm coming with it. I'm filming the whole thing. We're going to publish it to all the wrestlers. I definitely want to go to that, bro. Two questions left. One is kind of related to your world. The other one's wrestling related. You again, just by reading these articles, it sounds like at the 6th round of this finals that you just won, at like the 6-second mark, you almost fell off. And I did watch this video. Like you were like almost falling off, but then you pulled out. Are you thinking of that moment? Do you have any memory of when you were almost off and then you stayed on to ride it out? Because that was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So that round, that bull was called, I can't remember what it was called, but he got me down in. That wasn't the bull that I was supposed to have. Something happened with the bull that I was supposed to have, so I ended up having that one. And you know, he just kind of, that bull don't get ridden much because he's always, you know, there's a lot of things about bulls, but that bull was kind of, he moves away from you. So he kind of got me down in the inside, and I just really, you know, I really kind of had to bear down and, you know, just hold on for that last little bit. You know, it's like, I don't know, I've been in a couple close matches, you know, where you're trying to make something happen and you got to just, you're leaving it all out there. And that's kind of what I was doing on that last, that 6th round.
You got to suck that single in, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, it looked like
hold
that.
On to it.
God, I mean, it's just so nerve-wracking to watch. And then, you know, last question is, this podcast is called Wrestling Changed My Life. How has wrestling impacted your bull riding and like your career where you're at now, would you say?
I think it's so big, you know. All the coaches have helped me. You know, I worked with a lot of coaches over the years. But definitely like the mentality, you know, it's you going out there and you got to make a difference and you got to do something for yourself. And get another call. I don't know. Can you still see me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So yeah. But wrestling, like just the physical aspect.
Flip your camera. Can you flip your camera back on her quick? Only because I'm going to make a video of this part for sure.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So wrestling really changed my life because, you know, the mentality was probably the biggest aspect I got from wrestling, you know, because just how you got to carry yourself. Like you can have one bad match in a day, but your tournament still ain't over. You still got to turn it around. It's the same way with bull riding. You know, you don't have a good one round or a good day. You still got to go to the next day and push forward. And there's so much, a lot of the physical would be a big thing for me, you know, like I think it really transactions over to bull riding. It's a lot with hips, a lot with core and balance, and just staying like the lightest you can be to still feel good is what you need to be when you're riding bulls.
I was going to ask you that about the weight cutting, because I would imagine you can't be the slightest overweight and ride bulls.
Yeah, no, so I'm kind of one of the heavier guys on tour, and I want to try to get to about 150. Earlier, you know, this year I kind of ended the year at 157, but I didn't wrestle my senior year in high school, but the junior or whatever grade that is, but I was going again.
You're good. You're good.
No, I'll call you right back.
So when did you wrestle your junior year in high school? What weight?
140, 145.
So 150 is your fighting weight, you like to say?
Yeah, I want to say right there. Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, I know you're a busy guy. The world champ, man. It's so good to see you, a former wrestler, making us all proud. And I can't remember who on Instagram sent me the article of you, but someone did, and I'll thank them in the intro. But someone messaged me. They're like, bro, the PBR champ's a wrestler. Get him on. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. I'd love to. So thank you so much for making the time, man. It's been a real honor. Anything we missed that you want to hit on?
No, I appreciate you having me on, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. Well, wish you the best of luck and have a great day.
Thanks, man.